All right, we are back. Um, I'll probably do these. I'll probably try and do these like 5 missions at a time, just to see what we can get through. Most of um, most of the 5x patches are in like 10 mission setups. So let's give it a shot. Let's do this. Sapphire Gods, it's good to see you. Hope your being here means that you've had your fill of rest. You're too selfless, that's your problem. But you'll be no good to anyone if you don't take a break every once in a while. Anyway, not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned for you to meet that helper I told you about, but he refuses to answer his link pearl. I do hope he's alright. We've been exchanging messages with the Eorzean Alliance throughout, though. They say the fighting has finally stopped at the Dark, and that the Empire's shown no signs of movement. Which means we actually might have a moment to ourselves for a change. Seeing as you're back, maybe you could tell me more about your time in the First. Great. Oh, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Hammond to join us. She'll want to know what happened to Minfilia. Ooh. And I think it's best she hears it from you. We'll meet you on the terrace at the House of Splendors. So I think I'm gonna have to do the rest of this as a dancer. Unless I decide to change classes. Definitely not doing this as a Dark Knight though. Wait, where's the stairs? Did I pass the stairs? Oh. Yeah. Sapphire, it has been too long. Sataru did mention that I would be joining you, did she not? Yes, she did. Thank you. Words cannot express how I long to know more of the First. This world Minfilia has sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Sataru should be arriving shortly. And so Minfilia chose to pass on her gifts to the next oracle, this girl who Thancred named Reen. To have such a burden thrust upon her as a child, only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they are quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Zephyr, might I ask a favor of you next time you return to the Forest to tell Ran what I cannot? Tell her, thank you. I would offer thanks to you as well for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, could I have a word? Royal, I hope you're here to tell me you've received word from our helper. I wish. Nay, I've not a peep out of him, and it's been a good long while too. Too bloody long. On account of which, I'm going to sneak over the border and see if I can't get a signal from him from closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Thancred to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking me way through Grimlit now the fighting's died down. Gods know there's enough shadows to hide in. And it beats waiting around here twiddling my thumbs. Any road, I just thought I'd let you know. Now, I'd best be... I nearly forgot. Crow's at the stones, and she wants a word. Something to do with patience. She was getting ready to examine them again when I left. Uh-oh. We best head back then. I'm sure it's important. And jump. Granted, I probably could have just flown my way down. Wait, what is this? No. I'm gonna clear out some stuff I don't need. Keep currency, keep Wonders Tales. I get a new one on Tuesday if a currency need. Timers I can get rid of. Duty support I'll keep. Duty finder, keep all that. Keep the emotes. What is this challenge log? Don't need the challenge log. Okay, there was something I wanted to add. Mount guide. There we go. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'm slowly working my way there. At some point I gotta try and finish out the, that one quest. It seems she's still examining them. I do hope it's nothing bad.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
Indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Though I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured, Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies.
I was trying to do no, leave it to
I
me.
realize you've only just returned from saving 2 worlds, but time is not on our side.
Is it ever,
Where's
though?
it even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along.
Wait, I just realized she called him Raha.
His plan might well have worked, but I for one am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer. There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. Pray return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
I gotta remember to get back into this. Like, ideally, I just want to be able to start Endwalker, or get to a point where I can start Endwalker and then do what is it? And then just really start hammering Hildebrand. It's so beautiful now that I have a day and night cycle in here. There's sunlight. Actually, I think I'm just gonna go back to my original first class. I did like playing monk though, but dancer's fun too. But that's the thing, I gotta figure out what do I want to play for Endwalker. Because yeah, I'm debating dancer, but I also do enjoy playing monk because monk is fast. Mm, is he even in the right pants? Yep. Alright, I think I'll just keep him in monk. Ah, Sapphire, you returned. I hope your time in the source was suitable restful. But of, but of course it wasn't. Go on. The corporeal aether shows signs of instability. By the gods, the possibility never even occurred to me. If you have returned in the hope that my research has yielded a solution, I fear you will be sorely disappointed. But 'tis a mercy we have the likes of Mistress Krau and Master Matoya to keep our friends' bodies safe while we wrestle with the problem. But they cannot forestall the separation of body and soul indefinitely. Come, the others must be told.
Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
I forgot I picked up
Yes, of course.
that mission.
Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryle's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryle is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the First. To use an analogy, It works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning, through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away, not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
Ow!
I thought she was gonna slap him.
What was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless he says so.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
Okay, that's funny.
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary's success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of his body and soul, but his personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us his possessions, he could carry our souls back to the source upon his person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on his part, and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask, even of our friend. Yet, were we to immure our souls within an object in his possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back unto our vacant bodies.
I'm like, there's butt speech here.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain Numo chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrant is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Fae folk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try.
I didn't realize I got this one too. Okay. The Grand Cosmos, that is, a the palace we seek, stands on the opposite shore of the source. I will arrange for a boat to carry us there. Whilst thou'st journey hither, I think it best that I devote mine energies to creation of the white auracite. By thy leave, of course. The process requireth no small amount of time, and should the pneumo consent to lend us their aid, we will have need of a suitable vessel ere long. Agreed. Then I would ask the rest of you to meet me in Sullen, and do be prepared for a warm reception. As I told you before, I had scarcely set foot on the palace grounds when I was set upon by our host familiars, and I expect our reception today will be no different, which is why I propose we march through the main gate, weapons drawn. Oh, fun. I'm sorry, but are we not here to petition for assistance? You can't honestly think barging in looking for a fight is going to persuade them. Actually, I believe the Exarch might have the right of it. They have no doubt poured a great deal of time and energy into their creations. Were I them, I should be most interested to meet those who could overcome my defenses. As would any true seeker of knowledge. And there is little we can say or do to convince them to help us if we know nothing of their character, nor less why they choose to hide themselves from the world. Where did this fog come from? But if we can seize their interest, mayhap we can earn ourselves an audience. It got foggy real quick all of a sudden. Jeez. Weapons drawn it is then. Though I must say, Exarch, you certainly seem to be enjoying all of this. Do I? Well, I would not deny that I enjoy the thought of fighting alongside you all rather than pacing about inside the Crystal Tower. You both seem to be in rather high spirits if you ask me. Not that I'm surprised, your moods invariably improve when Sapphire is around. What exactly are you implying? He averted a calamity, and the light which seemed destined to consume him has been extinguished. 'Tis only natural that we be pleased to see him. Point proven. Yes, well, you will have plenty of time to celebrate his good health after we've finished here. Of course. Then let us proceed to the palace.
Very well.
There was something I wanted to look up and I don't remember what it was. What in the Cthulhu? pretty.
healing to me.
That was my fiercest familiar. Oh, impressive.
Why does he look familiar? I feel like I've seen this race before.
Backlook, 'tis good to see you again after all these years. And judging by your vigorous greeting, I dare say the feeling is mutual. To be sure, a simple shake of the hand would have sufficed by way of welcome, but I shan't complain. But you must be wondering as to the purpose of our visit. We come to beg your assistance in a most urgent matter.
Shake? Beg?
Our comrades' very souls are in danger. If we are to save them, we will need the benefit of your unsurpassed knowledge on the matter. Please, will you not sit and hear our plea?
Oh, how dare you! How dare you speak thus in my presence! It was to escape such words of temptation that I hid myself from the world of men. You are sinners, one and all, and I swore never again to have any part in your affairs.
I can only imagine what terrible events forced you into a life of seclusion. But I know that the Numo are a good and noble folk. It is not in your nature to turn a blind eye to the plight of those around you. And in treating with us, I am certain whatever mistrust you feel for man will begin to heal.
Wow.
If you will not be satisfied, I suppose I could listen. After all, there's no harm in just... No, I mustn't. Not again. That damn court mage seemed to have the best of intentions too, and countless innocents died for my naivety. Oh, you know not what you ask of me. What horrors my knowledge has wrought. You wish only to save your friends? Nothing more? Do you swear it?
No. No.
Oh, very well. I will hear your petition, but that is all. And I expect fitting payment for my troubles.
Commensurate with your contribution to our cause. No more and no less, I promise you. With that settled, might I impose upon you to join us at the Crystarium? I'm afraid the nature of my friend's predicament calls for absolute secrecy.
I just realized who that character was. It's been a while since we've seen him. There you are. The others have gone on ahead to the Crystal Tower with Beglug. For the record, I truly wish we hadn't had to resort to using such words when treating with them. I have ever sought to convince, not compel, yet I cannot deny that part of me is glad Oriange shared his knowledge of the Nomu with us. Had he not, Beglug would not be here. Speaking of whom, we should hurry. To keep our guests waiting would only add insult to injury. We mustn't delay any longer. If Beglug is to hear the truth of our travails in the first, you of all people should be present.
I'm sorry. You mean to tell me not only that the return of night was your doing, but that you hail from another world as well?
Everything we told you, of the source, the shards, the 7 umbral calamities, all of it is true. I realize how fantastical it sounds, and I would not blame you for doubting our testimony. But given your expertise, you must surely have noted the peculiar nature of their souls.
Any other time and I would have dismissed your stories as balderdash and flummery. But upon closer inspection, 'tis plain their souls are far denser than is normal, and that they do not possess true bodies. Save you. Your body is your own. And your soul is the densest of them all.
As I said before, were it not for their heroism, the skies over Norvrant would still be awash with light, the realm yet at the mercy of Forthry and the Sin Eaters. After all they have done for our home, seeing them safely back to their own, it seems the very least we can do.
Your tale is intriguing. Yes, very intriguing indeed. Simply to hear it is fitting payment in itself. As for your friends, I can but agree. Their valorous deeds on behalf of Norvrant are deserving of recognition, of their own fitting payment.
You will help us then?
I will. I would see my knowledge put to good use for a change. I do have one condition, however. I am not the spry young Numo I once was. As such, I will require assistance in my fieldwork and testing.
I assume I'm the one doing this?
It would be our pleasure. We'll be laboring for our own benefit after all.
You have spun quite a tale, but tell me, have you given any something? This is what happens when I look away. Light Arset, you say, an intriguing proposition. But one which fails to account for the present state of your souls. They have become highly charged and are likely to have consequence maintaining tangible forms for so long. As such, in energetic, unstable state they are, there is no telling what may happen to their souls within the Aurosite. They could very well become immutable and to transference and never to be restored to their bodies. Then would it be possible to force our souls into a state of dormancy prior to transference? In theory, yes, but the soul is not a candle to be snuffed out and relit on a whim or demand. Well, that sounds ominous. What exactly would rendering our souls dormant entail? In order to maintain the corporeal form, your souls constantly draw aether from your surroundings. This process must be halted and the resulting surfeit of aether removed. Your minds are ultimately would ultimately be separated from their full body from these full bodies of yours, rendering you incapable of interacting with the world around you. A cruel fate under normal circumstances, but one which will rectify upon your return home. Leaving lifeless husk, these poor souls at the end, at Journey's head, corrupted by their sin eaters, their aetherite made stagnant by the light. Corruption? Stagnation? Or stagnant? Might these unfortunate might I see these unfortunate individuals? Why, do you think you might be able to help them? I might, or I might not. I shan't know for sure until I've seen their condition firsthand. Then I'd be glad to take you to them, on the understanding that you won't do anything which might increase their suffering. It was my faith in man I lost, not my compassion. While I say no need for all of us to accompany you, while you escort our guests to the inn, I will assist Ryanja in creating the requisite aura site. I believe my talents would be better applied to that endeavor as well. Might I leave the three of you to assist Beglug as necessary? Let us make for Amarang then. I realize I probably should do this as dancer. So this is Halric, is it? Yes, his aetherite balance leans perilously towards the light. Towards stasis. What do you suppose will happen to him? Not too bright, are you, boy? The same as all poor souls corrupted by light, he will become a sin eater. You don't know that. We've defeated the Wardens and banished the light from the night sky. Halric was completely unresponsive before, but now... Mumble. Then perhaps there is yet hope. If I may, there is a treatment I wish to administer to the patients. What sort of treatment? In the course of my studies of the soul, I once created a tonic which could temporarily stimulate the aether in one's body. After some refinement, it came to be used by the Knights of Vobert. Then, for far darker purposes. Lest it fall into the wrong hands, I swore never again to make it, but for their sakes, I will break that oath. It's not like to reverse the stagnation, mind you, but it should offer some measure of relief. Now then, have you noted any change in the patients? A notable rise in body temperature, increased motor function in most patients, at least. The more severe afflicted show no response. As I feared then, 'tis true that with the restoration of night, the corruption influencing the light will no longer grow, and yes, their bodies will naturally return to equilibrium given time. But this holds true only for their corporeal aether. Their incorporeal aether, that is of the soul, is not so easily mended. Which is why those in later stages of corruption, like Calric, appear unaffected by your tonic. Precisely. The boy's soul is too far gone, his mind held together by the finest of threads. There is a chance he may one day recover, of course, but this could take years, decades even. By the gods, he could wake up to find himself as an old man. A fine reward for his persistence, the opportunity to mourn the life he never had a chance to live. No, there must be something we can do. Look, I realize this is not why we petitioned your aid, but do you think it is possible we can find a way to hasten their recovery? Maybe. Nor do I think it impossible that in treating them we might learn something of relevance of your own predicament. I suspect the Crystal Exarch has told you of my past, that I was once a mage of the royal court of Vobert, and that soulcraft was my field of study. The tonic you administered to the patients here is one of the fruits of my labors. I hope to do great things for the kingdom. But in the end, my knowledge brought only suffering, a plague that like of which none had ever seen, in the hands of unscrupulous men. What should have been my greatest triumph instead became my greatest shame. That I do, comforting thought indeed. But let us return to the task at hand, finding a means by which we might revitalize these people's incorporeal aether. Do you think it can be done? Were the sky still ablaze with primordial light, I would call it an exercise in futility. But now we may have a chance. The method I have in mind will entail the conjuring of a familiar. They are able to amplify the energies poured into them, making them the perfect conduit for the aether revitalization magics we will ultimately employ. If you're if you're about to launch into a lengthy explanation of the metaphysics of the plan, don't bother. I'd rather get on doing whatever it is that needs to be done, if it's all the same to you. Whatever regions must be procured or spells invoked, I'll do it. I admire your spirit. Very well. Your first task will be to gather the necessary materials. The purest of waters, the finest of clay, as well as Fey Lantern brimming with pixie magic. We're gonna have to visit all the regions we've just been to. If you're convinced the resulting familiar could help the patients, fine. For now, the water and clay will be simple enough, but I think you know what we'll have to do to get the lantern. Oh boy. You don't mean... Yep. The pixies took quite a liking to us before. If we humor them with our company, I'm sure they'll be willing to help us. Actually, I could as well. I have my pixie friend. Fine, we'll pay a visit to Omeg, though I never thought you would be the one to suggest going back there. I'm impressed you've been there at all, let alone befriend the Fae folk. Oh, while you're about, seek out the Nomu of Plaeni. They will be able to supply you with water suitable for our needs. Right, let's get this over with, shall we? There still remains the matter of the clay. I might prevail upon you to find it. Clay for from Amarang would be likely be best. You know of anyone who might be able to assist? I think the miners will help. Ah yes, they will be able to point you in the right direction, I'm sure. While you and the twins are occupied, I will see if there is aught else I can learn of the stagnation which afflicts the people here. Well, what a coincidence. You've come at a good time. We've just this moment finished repairing the Talos and the trolley you took not you lot took to Nabath Arang. The trolley was no trouble, but the Talos would have been another matter had we not had a visit from Master Chai. He offered to share the leftover building materials from Dahlia's stoneworks, as well as a few trade secrets to help us along. Clever man that China is. He seemed pretty keen on the ideas I had for putting the giant Talos to work. Oh boy. Like a giant trolley. But Magnus still refuses to see all the good we could do with it. You're entitled to your dreams, Jarek, but that doesn't mean you can go harassing our guests with them. Master Chai was just being polite. And something tells me Sapphire here didn't come all this way to talk about trolleys. What is it you need, friend? I need clay. I see, and this familiar requires clay from Amarang. Well, look no further. If anyone can find you some quality clay, it's us. Saying that it isn't exactly a commodity nowadays, but there must be some lurking somewhere or other waiting to be dug up. If I'm not mistaken, there was a time when they used to take clay from Mount Brine mines to make adobo bricks. The place is swarming with coyotes now, but if you're after the good stuff, you could do worse than look there. Sweet. Okay. Oh, fighting coyotes again. I just realized I'm in the middle of a dust storm. I almost went the wrong way. Yeah, I am completely in the middle of a dust storm. Deploy the core. I wonder if that's one of the dungeons. was expecting it to aggro. Guess not. I'm gonna assume that their trip was successful. Twins have returned in one piece at that. I was convinced the pixies would turn at least one of them into a garden ornament, but no. You have the clay, I take it? There you go. Wonderful. We need but combine the clay and water, then heat the mixture with the Fey Lantern. After that, it will be a simple matter of settling upon a suitable form, and performing the necessary incantation. Beglook, I have a question. In the event that we need of this spell and you aren't around, would it be possible for another to perform the incantation? Assuming they possess the requisite skill, yes. Halric and the others have suffered so much, and I swore to do everything in my power to save them. If there's a chance the spell could do that, I would be the one to invoke it. Mayhap you should be the one to do so. A deeper understanding of the subject's physical state combined with a strong desire to help them can drastically increase the magic's effect, and you are plainly more familiar with these people than I. I dare say there are few in all of Nordvrant more dedicated to finding a cure. Is that not so, Sapphire? I'll give it my all for Halric, for Teslin. Oh. Then we are all of a mind on the matter. Alize shall be the one to conjure the familiar.
Let us begin. I trust you've prepared the clay? Very good. Now, I would have you sculpt for me a porksy. Plump, with floppy ears and a short curly tail.
A porksy. I think I know what you mean.
Sounds more like something Alfino could do. Like, I feel like Alfino's very much more of the artist.
There we are. How's that?
No.
Well,
A Porksy is a
it's
giant
certainly
ball with
creative.
wings.
There's no denying that.
Yes, yes, I'm no artist. Very funny.
Pay him no mind, child. Though it may look like a grotesque parody of reality, it is what the invoker believes that matters.
You're not helping.
But I speak the truth. If successful, this incantation will turn imagination into reality. Which is why the only thing of import is what you believe this figure embodies. You must focus. Hold the Porksy's image steady in your mind's eye. Now then, as I taught you, relax and allow your energies to flow.
With flesh of clay I bid thee rise, on wings of dreams to touch the skies. What once was idle fantasy, I call forth to reality.
Not bad for a first attempt. Now, let us see what can be done for young Halric. Through the operation of the magics you invoked to animate this familiar, it is now replete with the energies required to stir the boy's soul. You need but give it a name, and it will do as your heart desires.
A name.
Teslan.
All right, I've decided. Now.
Or at least that's my guess.
Go, Angelo!
Okay, never mind.
Mother,
Aww. That was a great stride. Like, That was a very great stride considering. How is he, Beglug? Did it work? I believe it did. You and your fledgling familiar have done well. If my eyes do not deceive, a hint of color has returned to his soul. Gods, I would jump for joy if it weren't so exhausting. We're so close now, Halric. As you are now in the process of discovering, this magic asks much of the invoker. What you may not what you may not have realized is that the same is true of the subject. As such, we must proceed with caution. However, the further treatment, I have the utmost confidence the boy will make a full recovery. Observing the reanimation of his stagnant soul has been most enlightening. I will need time to put my theories to the proof, but I believe I can fashion a spell to produce the opposite effect, to induce stagnation, thus enabling our safe transport back to the source via RSA. A thought occurred to me about this treatment. Beglug said when the soul is rendered dormant, the mind is separated from the body, that a person becomes incapable of interacting with the world around them. Does that not sound a lot like some of the tempered back in the source? Not really. It is the fate of most tempered to become slaves to primals, save in a handful of cases. Or am I missing something? If I can master this technique, the art of revitalizing the soul, I know of at least one in the source who could desperately use such treatment. Gabu! That's right! Exactly. His condition is uncannily similar to Ulrich's, is it not? The only difference being that his soul was suffused to the earth aspected aether instead of light. It follows that if his soul is subject to similar kind of stagnation, there may be a chance we can save him, right? Forgive me, who is this Gabu fellow of whom you speak? So here's the story. I see, his condition does sound similar, yet there is much and more about the soul that remains unknown even to me. I say this not to discourage you, you understand, but to remind you that this is delicate work we do here. Work requires patience. Of course, as long as there is hope for the patients here, I will devote whatever time is needed to see this through. But I refuse to spend that time in idleness. If that's all the same to you, I'd like to stay here with Angelo and continue their treatment. You two should return to the Crystarium with Bedlug and see if you can't make some headway in their newly posited theories. I would tell you to rest first, but I see you're not to be convinced. I, the fire of youth. Let us return to the Crystarium, then. Finally, I found you. Huh? Oh. Oh, what happened in Yulmore? Kaishir, what are you doing all the way out here? There's trouble back in Yulmore. Lady Chai is beside herself, sighing, pacing the whole lot. Near enough begged me to go find you. Sighing and pacing, you say? It must be urgent. I take it I will be returning to the Crystarium alone. Go on, then. It's not as if I have anything for you to do. Thank you, Beglug. Becklug. Just realized it was a Q, not a G. Sorry for bothering you and all, but she says the future of Yulmore is at stake. Most anxious to see you. Lady Chai's up in the parlor. Best not keep her waiting, eh? Alright, to you more. Where is it? Like, I really want to do this in Dancer just because Dancer's level, like, 83. And then I can get it to 90 real quick. Yeah, let's just do it this way. Get some of that levelage going. Well, not here seems out of the ordinary, though. I do not see Lady Chai anywhere. Probably pacing around outside again, staring off in the distance and all that, sighing. Strange. Let's see if we can find her and discover the source of her distress. If she's outside, that means she's probably... there we go. Oh, she's outside. I was thinking she was, like, downstairs.
Oh, thank heavens you're here.
Lady Chai, whatever is the matter?
I knew not where else to turn. Oh, this is all too much for my poor heart to bear alone.
Alone? What of Master Chai?
That is the very reason I summoned you. He's gone.
What? What happened?
It all began after the events at Mount Gulg. With Lord Vorthry out of the way, we all agreed that a new leader must be chosen.
And so you held an election?
Yes, well, sort of. Not a single person volunteered to stand, you see. After a lifetime of leisure, we free citizens have grown somewhat indolent. Readapting to the harsh realities of life is trying enough, but to take charge of a broken city as well? No one wanted such responsibility. Nevertheless, Yulmore could not well do without a leader, and so we decided that anyone and everyone should be considered a candidate. And after we cast our ballots and tallied the votes, the mayorship fell upon my dear husband.
Well, given the manner in which he orchestrated the construction of the giant Talos, none could deny his leadership qualities.
But even before then, he had proven himself at Daedalus Stoneworks, don't forget. He is more than qualified for the role. The perfect choice. Indeed. I told him as much when his victory was first announced. But perhaps I was too forceful in my attempt to encourage him. For shortly after that, he vanished without a word.
You believe he was so daunted by the burden of leadership that he felt compelled to flee? Please, Lady Chai, dry your eyes. Your husband does not strike me as the sort of man who would abandon his duty, much less his beloved wife. There has to be some other reason for his absence.
You truly think so? What about you? What do you think has become of my husband?
And there you have it, Lady Chai. You needn't worry. Master Chai loves you more than all the world, and he will return. Wherever he may have gone, rest assured we will find him.
Thank you, my dear boy. You have set my mind at ease. I will trust in my husband and await his return.
Okay, we will end this video here. And we'll see how we progress throughout all the rest of this. I'll probably just be doing 5 missions per video just to see how things go, because it's looking like everything can be cut into like 5s. Some may have 4s, some may have 6, depending on how short the missions are. But until then, be good to yourself, be good to others, and of course, stay true to you. Laters!